1989, the state of California has exonerated 173 individuals. 109 of those cases were contributed to by official misconduct. Three gentlemen that I contacted as part of my senior project were Francisco Carrillo, Maurice Caldwell, and Obie Anthony. So official misconduct is, according to the National Registry of Exonerations, is one of the leading causes of wrongful convictions, and in my opinion, it is the most consistent threat to justice in this country. There's a report by the National Registry for Exonerations that shows contributing factors to wrongful convictions across different types of crime, and the leading cause varies greatly based on the type of crime, but the most consistent contributor on this graph is official misconduct, and I think that's particularly insulting to the American people, because that shows you that organizations and people that are there to ensure and protect justice are actually presenting a consistent threat to it for a very specific group of people. And I think once we start to realize that, we'll be more ready to address this issue.
So I am Melissa Daig O'Connell. I've been a criminal lawyer for 14 years. I actually went to Santa Clara Law School. And I coincidentally was a student with the Northern California Innocence Project a year after the clinic was opened back in 2002 was when I was a student. So they opened their doors in 2001. We were much smaller back then. But then when I graduated, I went off to become a public defender and then a private criminal defense attorney, and then circled back to NCIP. And there's like 7 leading causes of wrongful conviction, and official misconduct being one of them, and they all having their different contributions to wrongful incarceration. And I think official misconduct is broken into 2 different categories. You know, you have misconduct by prosecutors and then misconduct by police, and they're different. You know, one thing that happened in this past year was there was legislation that passed that made it a felony for a prosecutor to intentionally withhold exculpatory evidence in a case, and I think that was one step in the direction of saying that it can be a problem. We've recognized that it can be a problem. We recognize that it's a problem in extreme instances in which there are malicious prosecutors, right? And those being set aside from a prosecution that there may have been negligence or just something inadvertently was not revealed to the defense. But this legislation was about intentional misconduct by this part of the prosecutor, and that could be a felony. They could be prosecuted for a felony for doing that, and I do think that was a really big step. And it's also legislation that was supported by DAs, because a lot of DA offices share our sentiment that they should not be doing it intentionally. I think that goes back to your original question of what strides have we seen, over the years about innocence work. I mean, depending on who you talk to or what research you do, I think someone would say 2 to 5% of the nation's prison population is wrongfully convicted. So just take that for California. We have 160,000 people in prison in California. If you go on the low end of 2%, that's about 3,000 people wrongfully convicted. It's getting in front of an audience who actually thinks that's a significant enough of a number that it's a problem. You talk to obviously innocence lawyers, and we think it's far too many to recognize that it's a problem. But to people that, the United States, in respect to other countries, has one of the better criminal justice systems. But it's not perfect, and I don't think anyone would say that it's perfect. It's better than others. Can it be better than it is? Absolutely. And if 3,000 people in California being wrongfully convicted is enough to drive us to realize that it's enough of a problem, it certainly feels that way to us. And I think now other stakeholders in the system are realizing, 3,000 is too many. Even though it is only 2%, it's still 2% of which shouldn't be happening. You guys talked to me about meeting Obie Anthony. I think what's so critical to this work is there's a face to the statistic. there have been people executed on death row who at least the innocence community and even beyond, believe were wrongfully convicted. I don't think anyone in the world, I hope, would think that someone should be executed who was wrongfully convicted of a crime, right? I would have a tough time accepting that. And so, to your point, yeah, one should be enough. If there's a risk, and if you attach a face to it, and we often tell people, this could be your brother, this could be your mother, this could be your father, this could be you. And if you actually realize that, if the community realized that this could actually happen to anyone, I think that's when people start listening. I think the hard part is getting people to realize that this could happen to anyone.
My name is Paige Caneb. I am a supervising attorney at NCIP. I've been here almost 10 years now, and I heard about it in law school. I think the vast majority of discovery problems are not deliberate ones, like what that statute addresses, right? It's either they didn't think it was important, it was hidden in the cops file, which was a whole bunch of what happened in Obie's case, right? The police never wrote it down. And what they did write down, they didn't give to the DA's office. So there's nothing you can make a law about to DA's offices that's gonna solve that. And nothing you can make a law about generally that's gonna solve the deliberate misconduct. The less deliberate, something like an open file policy where everything is uploaded onto a computer and all of that is accessible to the defense attorney, that solves a lot of these problems and the inadvertent ones. So I do think some of the stuff you can change laws to make, it's like similar to what happens in eyewitness ID laws, right? If you make it so that the stuff that happens accidentally is not gonna happen anymore, you can't solve the purposeful misconduct with the law, right? You make it illegal to steal, people still steal. But it may be that some of the stuff that people didn't know was wrong, that they stopped doing that stuff. So like making your own call about whether something matters or not to the defense case, if you're not responsible for making that call anymore, it's just everything you have gets turned over, then you don't get those inadvertent errors anymore.
3.5 years they fought for me. 3.5 years they still by me and told me not to worry, that they got me and that things will work out, and I believe them.
I'm so happy for Obie, and I'm so grateful for the Northern California Innocence Project, and I'm so grateful just to be part of this special moment. Obie, have a wonderful life.
And even after spending nearly half his life in jail, Anthony says he's not angry.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I still trust the system.
17 years.
How can I not trust the system? Look, the system got me out.
My name is Obie Anthony. I was wrongfully convicted back in 1995 of a murder robbery I did not commit. I initially faced the death penalty. I ended up getting life without the possibility of parole plus 50 years. I got exonerated in 2011, and since my exoneration, I've been heavily active in trying to assist those individuals who had helped me come home by way of participating in criminal reform. There's a law now in the state of California that holds prosecutors accountable for withholding evidence, such as they did in my case. It's now a felony in the state of California because of some of the activism work in which I have been able to participate in. And there's also a law in the state of California called Obie's Law because of some more activism work in which I have had an opportunity to participate in. And that law there is specifically to help and assist individuals who was wrongfully convicted like myself. When they come home, to help them an easier transition. In other words, when I came home, it was difficult for me to get my identification. Medical happened, not just so happened, but I was blessed with my wife, so I had an opportunity to come home to a place. But there are several other exonerees that had to live with their attorneys when they came home. So I realized that that's also a consequence of that wrongful conviction, and also a consequence of suffering from the system and coming home to something that was not there set up for them. So in the process of all of that, I also established a nonprofit called Exonerated Nation. It's a national nonprofit. It's an after innocent network, which is assist individuals after they have been exonerated. to to further help them re-heal the wounds in which was created by the justice system, by them being wrong, wounds that was created from family members, and also friends that they may feel that they was abandoned by because they was incarcerated and they may not receive the contact and assistance and the help in which they ultimately needed to survive, even though they survived through that process, even in those conditions, without loved ones, without proper care medically, without proper attention from friends and associates from the outside. So exonerees are proven to be a strong group of individuals. And so with that, I set out to do the things that I'm doing to continue to help them in their progress. So that's what I've been up to since I've been home.